What do you know about your workplace that you are not supposed to know? At a previous job, we had an HR manager get fired right after returning from maternity leave. She was replaced by the guy that she trained to fill in for her while she was gone. She sent a company-wide email with the pay rate of everyone from the plant manager on down. It was a crap show. A lot of pay rates were wildly different in management/supervision and maintenance. There were talks of work stop strikes and slowdowns, even threats of unionizing. I believe that this one act led to the eventual closure of the plant. It was a crazy time. Someone has been stealing things from everyone's desk in our office. I set up a teddy cam on someone's desk, with their permission, to find out who was doing it. Turns out, it's the owner of the company. Edit. Since a lot of people are asking, I confronted him about it in private. Over the course of 2 to 3 months, the majority of things started reappearing, and stealing came to a stop after that, at least for the most part. Occasionally something would go missing, but it wasn't near as often. By jumping down from department to department over the years, at my old job I knew a combination of things that no person was supposed to know. I knew alarm codes, vault combinations, locations of keys, passwords, schedules, location and functionality of cameras and security systems. Led to a lot of idle daydreaming on bad days of things I could, but never would, do. My office purposely messes up people's wages to see if A, they're honest about receiving extra, or B, they can save money by not paying it at all. It's such a scumbag thing to do, just glad it never happened to me. Not my current job, but when I worked in logistics, my boss, head of outbound operations, didn't have a high school diploma, and the job required a college degree. She lied on her resume to get the job. She was an amazing boss, though. She didn't micromanage, she called me on my crap and screw-ups when they occurred, but was never mean or power-trippy about it. She offered suggestions to increase efficiency, but they weren't required. We just had to test them out, keep what worked, discard what didn't. Somehow she was always able to make me feel proud of a job well done, while still making me determined to do better. Probably the best boss I've worked for to date, and that includes 6 years of self-employment. She was fired a few months after I left for lying on her resume. My boss has been banging the secretary, who is married, for years, and it's a secret that the secretary's first kid, 14 years old, is my boss's biological child. My boss is also married with kids. Not a current job, but at my past job, my manager quit and the CEO gave me access to his emails, so I could find information about how to do projects he only knew about. I started looking for all the salary information from all the coworkers on my team, found out I was being paid significantly less than the person who previously had my position. I went and negotiated about a 40% raise with the CEO based on that information. At a place that I used to work, I was the only person with any IT smarts. I set up my spam filter to forward to my inbox any maybe emails that it caught, which I would then look at and forward if they weren't spam. On 2 occasions, I was forwarded an email receipt for Viagra, which one of my colleagues had purchased with his work email address. I just deleted them rather than forward because, well, it's just easier that way. There is a guy in my building who uses my office as a secret napping spot. I have a 3-foot space between my cubicle wall and the real wall I use for storage. He wheels a rookie chair back there and falls asleep. I don't have the heart to tell him he snores, so I just put on my headphones and let the dude nap. He works like 16-hour days for 3 days and then is gone for a week, but I remember working 16 hours too, and I wanted a nap, so he can have it. Manager fired one of my coworkers, call him Billy, because her good friend, who works with Billy, didn't like him. Didn't matter that he was never late, was dedicated, smart, hardworking, and didn't gossip. Manager also promoted her other friend, who was our billing person and previously worked retail, to HR manager. People's insurance through the company started lapsing. Vacation days were taken without warning. Said people were not in the office those days when people had a full workday's worth of emails to show for it. I work in education. My former chairman allowed a female employee to embezzle money from the school. I found out and blew the whistle. I assumed the woman would be fired and the chair would be demoted. Instead, the woman was asked to quit and given a package, and the chair stayed in his position because of his status as a coach. He proceeded to make my job very difficult for the next 5 years until he gave up the chairmanship to someone competent. This woman was his work wife and mistress, who also used to be his student at our school. So I used to work for an NGO in a government-funded program. Shortly before I quit, I found out that the higher-ups were actually taking government-funded money that was meant for our program and using it on their own non-government-funded programs. So essentially, they were stealing millions of dollars from the government. I'm a nanny. Short answer, everything. I hear all of the whispers you think I can't hear from the next room. Your kids know/talk more than you think. Google fills in your search history when I'm ordering more diapers. Pull the receipts out of the dryer that fell out of your pants pockets. The iPad the kids use has a photo account linked across all of your devices. I don't snoop intentionally, but just a byproduct of being in the home all day and working with a family so intimately. I definitely know most/all of the family secrets, even the secrets that mom boss and dad boss may be keeping from each other. I just pretend not to know anything at all until I'm directly told. I would never tell these things to anyone, but make sure you really trust your nannies and/or have a non-disclosure clause in their contract. If we have to clock in for work at a time when we are not technically on the schedule, we use what's called a red card. For example, let's say I'm scheduled 2 to 9 on a particular day and I got called in early. If I tried to punch, I would get an error message. The only people with these red cards are managers: store manager, perishable manager, and non-perishable manager. Well, I know the code for the red card, so theoretically I can punch myself in without needing to get it from the manager. A guy who has been claiming to do all my work has been given a pay raise worth double my salary. All the projects I've spent months working on will now go to them, and he's going to be my boss. This same person has screamed in my face multiple times in front of management, and has even been given a formal warning for trying to push me out of the way of my laptop to try and access it. This was told to me literally 15 minutes ago, and I need somewhere to vent. Edit. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the support. Update. So I've spoken to management. They are putting me through for a promotion in the next 3 to 6 months. I gave them an ultimatum, so if they don't, I'm out. I have been updating my CV and applying elsewhere for the time being. Again, thanks for the support. At Kmart, the managers constantly show us attempts to steal from the store. They never say who it is, and nobody ever gets fired. They also have these impossible deadlines that we need to meet, which we don't. They basically just lie a ton to scare people into working harder, which is why I quit. The reason my boss won't replace the aging fleet of company cars for people below him because he wasn't allowed to get the new car he wanted and now is pouting and nobody else is getting new cars. A Jeep Patriot isn't supposed to live to 200,000 miles. I work for a major car rental company that is now more than $15 billion in debt. Nobody will loan them money to replace its aging fleet, and there is no hope of making that money back. The state of Florida is currently suing them over toll charge practices. I have found this information by reading stock market analysis. I know for a fact they are not cluing in any of the local managers about it. The C-level churn rate for this company is amazing. I believe if we got O.J. Simpson to do some commercials for us again, it would boost our revenue. I know everyone on our Wi-Fi and their devices and where they've been coupled with how they are affiliated to our company. My boss does a report daily for the CIO with my metrics. Part of me wants to know why. Part of me doesn't. They have a pathing system that tracks movement for 30 days that I had made for emergency exiting plans. It's not being used for that. Edit. Sorry to cause fear. This can be used for good things. You got your crap stolen? We can find it. You have an emergency medical issue? We can find you and send someone to you quickly. However, I know it isn't being used this way. There is a removable panel in the restroom that allows access to various pipes in the wall. It also allows you to perfectly hear meetings in the superintendent's office. I've learned lots of juicy things that I'm not supposed to know about. Edit. Due to demand, I will tell some of the stuff I learned. 1. Some coworkers were having a shag on company property and on company time. They thought management wouldn't find out. Management found out. 2. My boss has anxiety and would practice his speech to my direct supervisor before giving it to everyone. 3. My boss isn't nice behind closed doors. I hear him talk so much crap about my coworkers. I work in a large federal government building, one of those you would see in the news frequently because a lot of stuff happens here, and reporters are on location off. There are a series of network closets in the building. They're placed in the same locations on multiple floors so the cabling layout is standardized. They range in size from a decent-sized bathroom to a studio apartment, and you'd never notice them in the hallway because the doors are unassuming. One of these closets is completely unlabeled. Plaque with the room number has been removed, and it's just a blank door in the hallway. I noticed it was where one of our closets should be, but it's missing from all the maps and directory. It's the largest closet by far. Someone has furnished it with leather couches and a TV and a fridge. I have no idea who converted it into their own private lounge, but there are 10,000 people in this building, and only 30 or so people can open that door. At my last command, the legal officer of all people would put his calls on speakerphone and leave his door open, so of course everyone in the vicinity could hear him talking about people's sensitive information, as well as his personal opinions about these people. One of the worst I overheard was, "Is there anything we can do to keep so-and-so from advancing?" Another was, "So-and-so's wife called the captain saying he beat the crap out of her, so now I have to deal with that. He was a piece of crap, probably still is." The factory manager that recently retired in his 50s actually was harassing 2 women engineers in their 20s that opened an HR case together. I've tried to ask why he gets to get off with reputation intact, and HR says it's a company policy to keep investigations private. One of his personal photographs from his travels is still hanging in the cafeteria with his name on it. They sent out an email saying one of our coworkers is no longer employed with us, which means they got fired. They aren't supposed to tell us why that person got fired, but one day the assistant director came up to me and asked if fired coworker was still in a relationship with a certain client. Someone had mistakenly told her I might have information about it, but I had no idea. My department didn't even work with that client, so now I know my coworker got fired for dating a client.